This video is going to be going over the Chapter 3 practice test, and it should get you ready for taking the Chapter 3 real test. The questions will be very similar to these 15 questions, but with different numbers. So let's get going here. Number 1, identify the terms and like terms in the expression 3 negative x plus x squared minus 3x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it out. 3 minus x plus x squared minus 3x. Everything that is separated by a plus or a minus is going to be a term. So there's one term, there's a term, there's a term, and there's a term. So I have 4 terms. Now my like terms are the ones that have the same variable, and there's only 2 that are like. So you have negative x and negative 3x. 3 is a constant, and x squared has an exponent. So these are the like terms. All right, number 2, we're going to simplify the expression, so we're going to put things together. I'm going to circle all the terms. I know I have a negative 3/8x, negative 2, positive 1/2 x, and negative 9. So I'm going to put my constants together. And when I do that, I have negative 2 plus a negative 9, so that's negative 11. And then I'm going to put a negative 3/8x plus a positive 1/2 x. So I know one's negative, one's positive, and the 3/8 is a little bit less than 1/2. So I have to find the difference, and it's going to be a positive. So I go 1/2 minus 3/8. Make this into an 8. 4/8 minus 3/8 equals 1/8. And it's a positive 1 plus 1/8 x. So it could be that, or you could do 1/8 x minus 11. Either way is fine. Let's simplify this one. We have a term here, term here, term here, term here. I'm going to put my constants together. Well, I'll do my z, my coefficient with variable, which are this one and this one are the same, are like terms. So I'm going to add those together. So it's a 6.2 z plus a negative 2/3, or just minus 2/3 z. And when I do that, 6.2 minus 2.3 equals a positive 3.9 z. Then I'm going to put the 8.7, negative 8.7, with a positive 9.1. Now, the positive is bigger, so when I find the difference, it'll be a positive number. 9.1 minus 8.7 equals 0.4 plus 0.4. And that is my answer. All right, now we have a linear expression that we're going to put together. And I know that there's nothing I can do in the parentheses, nothing I can do in the parentheses. So I have 1/3 x minus 8 plus 1/2 x minus 2. So I have 4 terms, and I'm going to put them together. I'm going to put the x's together. 1/3 x plus 1/2 x. I need to make that 1/6. Oh, no, it's not 1/6. It's 2/6 plus, make that into 6, 3/6. So when I do that, it gets me 5/6 x. And then I put my -8 with my -2. It's going to give me a grand total of -10. So my answer is 5/6 x minus 10. Here's subtracting two linear expressions. And whenever I see a subtraction, I'm going to change that to addition. And then I got to make that the opposite and make that the opposite. Okay. So now I have 1/2 x minus 6 plus a negative, or just a minus 1/6 x plus 8. And let's put the x's together. 1/2 x minus 1/6. So let's do that. We'll make it 3/6 minus 1/6 equals 2/6, or 1/3. So we have 1/3 x. And now I'm going to put this -6 with this positive 8. And when I add those together, I get a positive 2. 1/3 x plus 2. Let's go to number 6. Now we have a little distributive property that we have to do. I see this is going to be times 8x, and it's going to be times plus 20. Okay, if I do 1/4 times 8x, that gets me 8/4, which is the same as 2x. And then 1/4 times 20 is a positive 5, because that'd be 20/4, and that is 5. And then I bring down my plus 9x. Now I'm going to put these two things together, which would be 11x. And then I'm going to put the 5 down there. They are unlike terms, so I can't put them together anymore. And that is my answer. This one's similar. We have a distributive property that we have to do. -1.6 times r, which is a -1.6 r. And then a -1.6 times a positive 2. And it's a negative times a positive, so it's going to be a negative. And then it's 1.6 times 2 equals 3.2. So we have minus 1.6r minus 3.2, and then I bring down my 5. So I have this and this are like terms. So -1.6r, I see the plus 5 is bigger than the -3.2, so we go 5 minus 3.2, and it gets me a positive 1.8. That's number 7. All right, we're going to start getting into the factoring, and this is with GCF. So I have to find the greatest common factor of 8 and 48. Well, I know that 8 goes into 48, so 8 is the greatest common factor. So 8, how many times does 8 go into 8x? Or what is 8 divided by 8? That's just x, plus 48 divided by 8 is 6y. Now, I feel pretty good about this, but I do want to check it. So 8 times x is 8x. 8 times a positive 6y is plus 48y. And that's exactly what I started with. So I feel good that this is my answer. All right, another factoring out one. We're going to factor out the coefficient, which is 1/9. So I put 1/9 here. And then 1/9 x divided by 1/9 is just 1x. And then 10 over 9 divided by 1/9. Let's do the reciprocal here. So we have 10/9. Instead of divided, we're going to do times. And then do the reciprocal like that. This 9 becomes a 1, and it's going to be 10 over 1, or just 10. And it is a positive 10. Now I can go the other way to make sure I'm right. 1/9 times x is 1/9 x plus 1/9 times 10 would be 10 over 9, which is exactly what we started with. Cool. All right, let's factor out a negative number. And so we'll put negative 4.3 on the outside. And then I have to go 12.9 divided by 4.3. That gets me 3. Now it's a positive divided by a negative. And when I do a positive divided by a negative, I get a negative. Okay, so it's negative 4.3, parentheses, negative 3, and now we have a negative times a negative, which gets me a positive. So it's going to be a positive something. So now I go 21.5 divided by 4.3, and that gets me 5. Oh, that's B. And it's a positive 5, so it's plus 5. So let's check it. Negative 4.3 times negative 3, that is a negative times a negative is positive. So 4.3 times 3 equals 12.9. And the B comes along. And then negative 4.3 times 5. So negative times a positive, so it's going to be a negative. And then 4.3 times 5 equals 21.5. That looks exactly like that. So my answer is this right here. That's the answer I'm looking for. So let's get into the word problems here. Each person in a group buys a movie ticket, a drink, and a popcorn. How much does the group pay when there are 5 people in the group? So I'm going to go 5 on the outside. They're each getting one of each thing. So 6.25 plus 2.75 plus 3. Now let's add all those together before we multiply it by 5. So 6.25 plus 2.75 plus 3 equals 12. Bring down my 5. And 5 times 12 is 60. So they're going to have to pay $60. All right, this is the tricky one that I want to spend a little more time on. We have a rectangular swimming pool. So I'm going to draw my swimming pool here. Rectangular swimming pool. The length is L, and the width is 4 yards less than its length. Okay, so that's that. So we need to find the perimeter. And the perimeter is 2 times the length plus the width. Okay, so if I use that as my formula, the perimeter is going to be 2 times my length, which is this, plus my width, which is length, minus 4. And when I put those together, I get 2L minus 4. Now let's distribute this. 2 times 2L is 4L, and 2 times negative 4 is minus 8. So there's my perimeter. And if I want to, the tiles cost $4 each. So now I'm going to take that, 4L minus 8. I'm going to times that by 4. It's going to give me 16L minus $32. And that's the cost that it will be. So all I got to do is just find the perimeter using the length and width that it gives you, and then times it by the cost per tile. All right, number 13, a square patio. I like squares because it means that all 4 sides are exactly the same. The perimeter is 16x plus 12 feet. What is the length of the patio? So I just have to, this is a factoring one, to pull out something so I can find out what one of the lengths is. So because all lengths are even, it's a square. So I'm going to do 16x divided by 4. And I'm going to do positive 12 divided by 4. And let's see what I get. That's going to be 4x plus 3. 4x plus 3 is your answer to one of the lengths, just one of those sides. Because if I do that times 4, that would give me 16x plus 12. Number 14 is to evaluate the expression. You have all these terms, and then it tells you what the x is. So let me put the like terms together. Minus 5x plus 2.5x plus 4.5 minus x plus 3. I'm going to circle all my terms in yellow. So I have a negative 5x, I have a positive 2.5x, I have a positive 4.5, I have a negative x, and I have a positive 3. Now, what are my like terms? This is like with the x and like with that x. So I'm going to do a negative 5x. If I go all the way over here to a negative x, so it's a negative 5x plus a negative x, that's going to get me negative 6x plus 2.5x. And then I have my constants plus 4.5 plus 3. Now, negative 6x plus 2.5x. The negative has a bigger absolute value. So I take 6 minus 2.5. That gets me 3.5, and it's negative because that's the bigger absolute value. 3.5x plus, I'm going to put these two constants together. 4.5 plus 3 is 7.5. Okay, so now I've just simplified the expression. Now I got to put in my 3, which is what x is. So it's negative 3.5 times 3 plus 7.5. Now let's do our multiplication first. Negative times a positive is going to be a negative. 3.5 times 3 equals 7.5. Now I have a bigger absolute value on the negative, so it's going to be a negative. And then I just find the difference of it. 0.5 minus 7.5. And that gets me a -3. Here's the last word problem. There's a couple different ways you could do it. I'm going to just throw 5 in for t right away. So -500 times t, which is 5, plus 250,000. That gets me one city. And let's do that. Let's do -500 times 5 is -2,500 plus 250,000. So this is a negative here, so I'm going to subtract it from 250,000 minus 2,500. It's going to get me 247,500. Now the population of this other place is 200 times t, which is 5, plus 300,000. And that gets me 1,000 plus 300,000. And when I put those together, I get $301,000. Not dollars, population. So then this is one place, this is one place, and it's saying what's the difference? So I take the 301,000 minus the 247,500, and I get 53,500. And that right there is my final answer.